American students. I hope you're feeling good today and you must have completed your previous week's task. Today we're going to start the letter writing that you people are already doing in your class 7th, and now you have to do it in class 8 as well. So the letter writing that we're going to do today is informal letter. Before starting this, I hope all of you are having a good time at home, and you are completing your assignments, you're completing your work side by side. Um, I would like to give you some tips to engage yourself. Why don't you pick a topic of your choice? Any topic that you like, maybe something from the science, something from English, maybe something from history, something from geography, anything. And every day, do search about it for 30 minutes on the internet. And trust me, you'll come up with a wonderful results. So this is the activity I can suggest to you while you are staying at home and completing your formal education, as well as do this work as. All right, so let's come back to our topic, that is letter writing, and we are going to do the informal letter. Now, the objectives of this lesson is, at the end of the lesson, you'll be able to recall the types of the letter. You can differentiate between the informal and formal letter, uh, to analyze the format of informal letter and compose an informal letter. So the resources are the images, YouTube videos. I'm going to give some YouTube videos in your resources. Please do watch them. They will be very useful. And the letter that the topic actually that we have taken is actually from your textbook, page number 23, part F. Now, for a very long time in class, since class 3, people have started doing the letter writing. So I think all of you are familiar that the letter consists of two kinds, that is informal letter and formal letter. So the formal letter is the one uh, in which we use a formal language, and that is in a stipulated format. Now, stipulated means a specific format for official purpose. So you have to stick to that format when you're writing an official letter or the formal letter to your teacher, to your principal, or if you're writing to an editor, which you had done in class 7. And the informal letter is the one in which you write something in a friendly manner to someone you are familiar with. So this is called an informal letter, right? You go start writing the letter to your mother, to your father, or you're writing the letter to your friends, to your relatives, to your cousins. So these are called informal letter. Okay. So in informal letter, the three things come up, which you already know. First is the address. Second is the salutation and greetings. And the third is the ending. Now, I think all of us are familiar with these three things. In every letter, you find these three things very well. Let me tell you, salutation and the greetings means when you're going to address someone. Like if you're writing a letter to your friend, you're going to start writing like dear friend, or maybe if there's a name of a friend, you're going to write down like dear Ali, or maybe dear Uzma. Any name could be used. So that would be salutation. And next comes the greetings. How are you? How was your day? How are you doing? So these are the greetings that you can use. And then the ending. Now ending matters a lot. If it's a formal letter, then your ending would be a little bit formal. But if it's an informal letter, then obviously your ending would sound differently. Okay. So, part of a letter. Before, I know you know very well how to write an informal letter, but here in class 8, we are doing it from a point of view of a board pattern. So, the pattern that you people were using in class 7th would be slightly different from the pattern that you were using in class 8th. That would be the bold pattern. So you have to stick to the few points. Every letter has different parts, and all parts taken together make the whole. So if you lose any of the part, then it means that the letter is not completed. The parts are the address of the writer along with the date of writing, salutation or greeting, body of the letter, subscription of or the close of the letter, signature, and address on the envelope or postcard. Now, the F point is the one which we have to take care when we are sending a letter to someone. But as we are going to read this letter, as we're going to learn this letter as a part of our academic, then I think F part is not that important. But you should be aware that if you have to send a letter to someone, then how you're going to write it. Okay. Well, there is a chart over here, and the chart will help you out. This is informal letter addresses that we write to the relatives, to the friend and acquaintance, while the salutations and informal letters are my dear, whatever the name you want to use, and dear Mr., Mrs., Miss. And subscriptions are actually the ending parts. So there could be yours affectionately, yours sincerely, excuse me, yours truly. I'm not going to discuss about the formal letter because right now our focus is on the informal letter. But for the formal letters, all the addresses would be for the strangers, officers, editor of newspaper and business concerns, and the salutation that we use will be sir, madam, dear sir, madam, sir, madam, dear sir. And subscriptions will be yours truly, yours obediently, yours truly, yours faithfully. Okay. And then the parts of letters, the first thing we have discussed about the address and the date. Writer's address is normally written at the top of the letter as heading, which informs the readers from where the letter has been written. Just below the writer's address comes the date, then the letter is written. The date must be written in either of the following ways. Okay, you can either write it like this, January 1, 2017 or 1st January 2017. Students should remember to put a comma before the year. Omission of punctuation mark shows the carelessness of the writer. Well, you should be familiar of this fact that when we used to have a paper and your teacher always insists to you about the punctuation, that do not lose any comma, do not lose any full stop because they cost you the marks. So punctuation matters a lot. Next comes salutation. Now, a salutation is actually the part where we greet the person. The word should be used according to the status of the address and the degree of the friendship or intimacy that the writer enjoys with him. Students should refer to the given chart. So you should know that if you're writing a letter to your mother, then what should be the salutations you're going to use? Or if you're writing a letter to your best friend, what kind of salutations or greeting you should be using? You can't use one standard for every relationship. Okay. The third is the body of the letter. Now this is the main part. It also has a lot of marks, so you have to pay attention to this part of the letter. It is the main part of the letter and may contain a number of paragraphs. The opening sentence should be of great nature, general nature, and may indicate the continuity of the correspondence with the addresses. Some suitable opening sentences which may be used according to the occasions are, okay, so when you're going to start a letter after the salutation and the greetings, you have to take a look into these greetings. You should know that you should start a letter with a specific sentence. Now they have given a few examples here. For instance, it is quite a long time since I heard from you. I was very glad to receive your letter. My joy knew no bound when I learned of your success. I'm much pained to hear that, You will be sorry to know that. You will be pleased to know that. Thank you very much for your letter. So these are actually the part of the body that you have to use. The letter should be closed with the proper phrase. One of the following phrases may have been used during the occasion. With best regard, that would be the ending. With love and best wishes to all at home. With best wishes, hoping to see you soon. Hoping for an early reply. Hoping to have from you soon. Thank you. Now, the fourth part is a subscription. After closing the body of the letter, we put subscription or close of the letter at the bottom of the left-hand corner of the page. Students should refer to the given chart for using appropriate subscription. So in the previous chart, I've given you a subscription. And students, in your grammar book of English and Composition 9 and 10, excuse me, you can find a chart over there which would be very helpful as well. Now let's come to the signature. Now signature is actually when you're addressing that person at the end. That would be yours truly. It could be your lovingly, and then at the end you're going to write down your name. Now in the bold pattern, we do not write the name, we write XYZ. Address on the envelope or the postcard. If you want to send a letter to your friend who lives outside the city, or maybe someone somewhere closer, but you want to send a letter with the proper mail, which actually we're not using these days, writing letters to each other. It's just an old custom now, but still it's very interesting. So I will suggest you one thing, that as you are staying at home these days, why don't you write a letter to your friend, maybe within the city, or maybe outside the city, and make it a proper letter, and put it in the envelope, write down the address of your friend and put a stamp and post it. And that would be very interesting. Anyway, let's come back to the address on the envelope or postcard. Well, it is written on the envelope or the back of the postcard. So we write first the name of the person in the first line. Second, the name of the house and street or the name of the village in the second line. And the name of the city and the district in the third line. So this is the examples. Mr. Nisar Ahmed Khan, name. The address, house number 5, People's Colony, Faisalabad, or Sayyid Mujahid Hussain Shah, Fruitgate Market, Shahpura. Now let's come to the structure of the informal letter. We were talking about the parts of the formal letter. Now let me tell you what is the structure you have to copy. You have to keep in mind while you're writing in a formal letter. First of all, the title that we have already discussed, that is the salutation. Don't forget to write it after the address. Then in the explanation, you have to write down the reason for writing that. Why are you writing it? What is the reason? Was it for inviting someone? Was it for thanking someone? Or it could be any reason. Then comes paragraph number 1. Now the paragraph number 1, first point with details. Paragraph number 2, second point with details. And paragraph number 3, third point with details. Here I need to tell you that the formal letter is to the point, while informal letter could be longer as much as you want with details. So do not stop yourself from writing or sharing your ideas in a letter. Well, next comes the closing sentence that I'm looking forward to see you, or it could be anything that we have already discussed. And then the signing off, all the best, see you soon. And then at the end, you're going to put your name, or as we have discussed, that if you're writing in a classroom, that it should be, or it's a bold pattern, it should be XYZ. Okay, so this is another example where we have, this is the address. We're going to start it with address. Then comes the date. Then comes dear. Dear could be anything, dear mother, dear father, dear cousin, or if you want to show the name. Then come the body of the letter, introduction, main content, conclusion, plus end of the letter. This body of the letter can includes first paragraph with a short description, second paragraph with a long description, and third paragraph contains a conclusion or the end part. And at the end, the subscription, that means yours lovingly, and then XYZ or your name. Now, writing an informal letter, this is actually the sample of a letter of thanks. Here you can see that this is a writer address at the top, then comes the date, then dear grand, that is a salutation and formal opening. Then thank you for cake boat that you sent me for my birthday. It's excellent. Now here, as you have used an expression, so you need to put an exclamation mark, and this thing comes in punctuation. So you have to take care of the punctuations very well. If you are showing some kind of delight, happiness, or sadness, you're supposed to put in punctuation marks at the end. Now, you can even use the contraction like I have been practicing every day. So instead of write IHAVE, you can even write apostrophe VE, that is contractions. And I'm sure students, all of you are familiar with contractions. And then paragraph 2, skateboard. I have been practicing every day. That says I'm a born skateboarder. Next week we are going to the new skateboard area in the park. I can't wait to try it there. So this is paragraph number 2. Now paragraph number 1 is the reason that why you're writing it. Paragraph number 2 is with a few explanations. When you write a letter to someone, you use friendly informal language. You usually put your address and the date at the top of the page, like this. But sometimes this information is not included. The thank you letter on the right is an example of the informal letter. Now, some few examples that I have taken from your grammar book, that is Grammar and Composition for 9 and 10. There is a letter number 1. Write a letter to your mother who is worried about your health. Now here you can see that this pattern is according to the board pattern. First you have to write down your address. Then dear mother. And then this is the content of the body, that why you're writing the letter. And then pay my regards to all at home. And then your affectionately, that is the subscription. And then your name. Students, when you're going to practice writing at home, according to the board pattern, we are not going to write our address. We are going to write examination hall, ABC examination hall, and then the date. Then the rest of the thing will continue the same. And at the end, you're affectionately and XYZ. Next is write a letter to your father, asking him about the health of your mother. So here again, we are going to use the address, but like I said, that you're going to use an address for the examination hall. Then their father. Remember to keep an eye on the punctuation marks here. Do not forget to put or insert the punctuation marks correctly. And then obviously your affectionately, nothing. Let's come to the recap. We have read about the types of the letters, that there are 2 types of the letters, informal and formal. And then we have read about the difference between the formal and informal letter. Formal letter is more of an official letter, while informal letter is one that we write to our relatives' blood relations. Then we have read about the parts of the informal letter, that it consists of the address and salutation, greetings. Then comes the body of the letter, then comes the subscriptions, and then at the end, signature. And then we have read about the structure. I've given you the examples of the few of the letters. Now the written assignment, the first is on your textbook of English on page number 23. Write a letter to a friend telling him about the exhibition that recently held in your school. And next assignment is from your grammar book. That is page number 18. Write a letter to your mother who is worried about your health. Write a letter to your father asking him about the health of your mother. Now, these 2 are the letters that I have discussed recently, but the content is there. But I want you to add your own content, your own ideas, and make it a lengthy letter. And I hope you have understood informal letter writing. Thank you so much.